Welcome to 3 Count Commentaries. I am your host, MagMongoSlade. I will be talking about AEW Double or Nothing from 2024. It will be, the date was May 26th and 27th, 2024, because this event rolled into the next day, because they seem to always do so. There were 30-minute matches, 18-minute matches on this show that probably shouldn't even been on this show. I mean, saying that AEW shows are too long is just like when people complain about the Saudi shows. It's 5 or 6 years of this, and they're not changing it. They refuse to change it. They refuse to even slightly modify the length of these shows. They must stuff everybody and everything onto these shows. Otherwise, they have this sick belief that you're not getting your money's worth if you don't absolutely get served Orange Cassidy versus Trent Beretta for 10 or 12 minutes. Then you're going to go home disappointed when nobody will. We're going to go through this show. We're going to begin with the end and work our way back, which means if you want to talk about MJF, you're going to have to wait for a while. Let's start with the main event, the Anarchy in the arena. The Elite defeat FTR, Darby Allin, and Bryan Danielson. This match is one of those things that either you like it or you hate it. Considering there was so much chaos in the cage match with broken tables and weapons and run-ins, this match had a tough time trying to overcome all that. Because you also had the FTW match, where there's tables and dice and a bunch of other stuff. This match has to overcome all that. So what they did is they had a car crash, they had a man get set on fire, they had a guy dangled from the roof of the ceiling of the building, and there was some huge jumps, and I'm going to tell you the God's honest truth. I do not care about this match. I already didn't care. But this match did not start until about 12 something, 5 after 12, maybe 10 after 12. When the show ended, it was like 12:30. And this match was about 20-25 minutes. And it was chaos from the beginning to the end. There was so much stuff happening that, like I said before, it is absolutely impossible to follow everything that was occurring in this match. There was some things in it that was enjoyable. Jack Perry getting set on fire was actually kind of funny. Why he ended up being the guy who won the match, I don't know. I mean, you set a guy on fire and he still managed to beat you. Seems like you suck, brother. You know? I mean, I don't know. You tried to kill him in a car crash. He came back. I mean, he's just unstoppable. Darby Allin was literally dressed like a character from Mad Max. I guess that was the point. They wanted to play up that partnership. So he had a similar look to a character from Mad Max. Another funny bit is when they started doing the music medley. They didn't know whose music to play throughout the entire fight, like they usually do. So it started out with it being Darby for a few minutes. And then it became the Young Bucks because Matt Jackson demanded that they play their theme song. So then after that, they played the Final Countdown, which I'm guessing was the theme for Danielson. And it played for a while. And then Matt Jackson humorously said, it cost $200,000 to play that. We're on a budget. Turn that off. And one of the few times where I'm saying, that was a good one. It's something that an EVP will be thinking about. It's something that somebody who is in the business of business will be considering. Like, this is an insanely expensive song. Please stop playing that. You're going over budget. So Tony Khan got yanked from Gorilla. I know everybody wants to talk about this. They didn't do anything to him except manhandling him. Jack Perry is the one who grabbed him. As they were about to do something to Tony Khan, Darby Allin set Jack Perry on fire. So Tony Khan, it starts to roll down the ramp. And he's like scampering like a baby chimpanzee or something like this. I'm like, it's just so much happening that it's hard to absorb everything that is occurring. So there was some cool moments. I didn't really care about the match at all. I was tired, sleepy, bored, to be quite honest, because there's so many brawls on this show. So this match was actually kind of boring because there were so many other matches that were similar. So I give it a thumbs in the middle because they at least teased a flamethrower, then they actually used it. I didn't believe they would actually use it. Joke on me. So I give them thumbs up. They figured out how to make it work. The Elite win. That's exactly what needed to happen because you don't want to kill their heat. They're just getting started. So it was fine. The match that really bored me to death. Christian Cage takes the L to Swerve Strickland. This match started at 11:30. This match started at 11:30. Okay, and it went from 11:30 to a little after 12. This thing just would not end. It would not end ever. It's like nobody believes Christian can win. End this thing, please. Or just bump it to Dynamite. I don't think anybody would have been upset if Swerve didn't have to defend the title here. I mean, it'd have been okay. You treating him like shit as a champion anyway. So, Swerve's entrance, the theme for his entrance was the Warriors. So Prince Nana comes out with the bottles and all that kind of stuff, which is, it was fine. The Warriors is a good movie. They did a vignette where Swerve was talking about, you should always bet on yourself, which I'm going to take a step back because I really want to spend like 10 minutes talking about I'm sick of fucking hearing bet on yourself. 3 or 4 different people on this program use the term bet on yourself. MJF has it tattooed on his ankle. Mercedes used it in her vignette for her entrance. And Swerve Strickland used it in his vignette in his entrance. Is this a cult where they're all using the same language? And what is this betting on yourself? You work for a billionaire. How are you betting on yourself? Betting on yourself is to enterprise out on your own, create something for yourself, and that will be betting on yourself. You're just a guy who went from one employer to another. You're not really betting on yourself. This is a huge safety net that you got here, brother. I'm not going to let you fail. At worst, you get paid a lot to do nothing. So I'm tired of hearing about betting on yourself. That betting on yourself thing is as bad. Like if you was to put like a top 3 or 4, I'm tired of hearing this shit. Number 1 would be It's My Dream to Be Here. NXT beat me to death with It's my dream to be here. And now Triple H's WWE is the same thing because everybody's bland. It's my dream. I'm like, oh my God. And then like, there's people in AEW doing the same thing. It's my dream. After that, it would be AEW, standing up for AEW talk. AEW is good for business. It's good for the boys. I'm tired of hearing about that. It's been 5 years of that. Enough. I don't care. But this bet on yourself, oh, brother, that's creeping into second place. Never has any rhetoric just come out and run to the ring like the Ultimate Warrior and got on my goddamn nerves. Like, bet on yourself. I don't ever want to hear that shit again. If nobody else ever says that again, thumbs up. But now people are tattooing it on them. It's in every other vignette. What the fuck do you mean bet on yourself? What do you mean? I don't get it. Anyway, Swerve beat Christian. All is well. Who cares, really? It's very unfortunate that I didn't care about this match at all because I like Christian and I like Swerve. I was a fan of Swerve when he was in NXT. But this show was so long that by the time we got here, I was mentally checked out and wanted the show to be over. They could have went out there and had Savage and Steamboat. I wouldn't have gave a fuck. At this point, it's 11:30. Bro, even though I don't have to go to work tomorrow because I work in an office. Some people do. Some people really do have to go to work in the morning. You holding them up $50 and then telling them, you're going to go to bed at 1 o'clock. Like, are you serious? Because I'm not going to sleep on a $50 show. If I'd have spent $50 on this show, I'm not going to bed on it. I sit there with a goddamn electric collar keeping me awake to watch this show if I spent $50 on it. Thankfully, I did not. In any event, some people did. And I'm thinking about those people. You poor, unfortunate souls that have to go to work in the morning when this asshole decided to kidnap you for 5 hours. Next, let's just move on. Mercedes Moné defeated Willow Nightingale to become the TBS champion. This was clearly what everybody expected. Actually, not a bad match. Willow is becoming one of my favorites in AEW. She just gives off the good stuff about the Dusty vibe. Everybody always tries to talk about, fat wrestlers and how they are, they should be like Dusty. She actually gives really good vibes. Like, she is a perpetual baby face, always smiling, but she knows how to turn the gears on. And that's what this match was about. You can see her being aggressive here. You can see her working big here. But she also sold very well. The problem, if I was to say there was a problem, was early in the match when Sasha is trying to do Lucha Libre and it's shoddy. It's clearly Willow is letting her do stuff. Are these jumping arm drags and everything instead of just like clotheslining her, knocking her down? It's like, okay, we get what you're trying to do here. You're trying to set the story. Willow's big, strong. That's going to be her thing. Mercedes, small, fast, tactical. That's going to be her thing. And you're trying to set that story up by, Mercedes doing all this Lucha Libre. But she's not really all that good at it. It's slow. It looks like she's thinking her way through it. She was better off later in the match. When the match slowed down and, Mercedes worked the knee of Willow, which was, they were working each other's legs. Working Willow's knee because she's a big girl, and working Sasha Banks' ankle because she had broken her ankle. Sensible, completely sensible story. Stokely Carmichael, I keep calling this guy Stokely Carmichael. Stokely, whatever his name is. Bald dude, does nothing. Useless, completely useless. Funny on Twitter, but other than that, not really all that funny. Doesn't know how to be a manager. He's a comedian who stands behind wrestlers, I guess. In any event, he takes the referee's attention right as Willow hits the doctor bomb. So the count is late. Mercedes kicks out. Later, Mercedes actually wins with the gory bomb, what they call the money maker. It's kind of like, it's a weird looking gory bomb, but it was actually kind of impressive considering Willow's size. So it was fine. So Mercedes wins the title relatively clean with no outside interference, which I thought was, especially considering what happened after the match, kind of dumb, but I'll get to it when I get to it. After the match, Stokely is upset at Willow because she lost. Chris Statlander then shoves him down and tells him now is not the time, and all this kind of stuff. And then outside the ring, she attacks Willow, just beats her ass outside the ring. So Chris Statlander and Stokely have turned on Willow and beat up Willow, which everybody saw coming. My issue here is, why not protect Willow by having them turn in the middle of the match? They could have turned and cost Willow the title. Rather than turning on Willow after the match, turn on her to make her lose the match. That way, she has some steam left. So if she wants to challenge for that belt again, it could always be that asterisk that Mercedes won with help. Now, would it do Mercedes any good to win with help? No, but who gives a shit? She's already established. You're trading on her coming from WWE already. You don't need to establish her. She's good. She's a name. She's a face. It works. You don't need to put Stokely and Chris Statlander with them. It could be an individual feud. And I know that sometimes if you see that, you will infer that Stokely and Chris is trying to help Mercedes because they want to join her. But you could just let them know that no, it's not about Mercedes at all. It's just you don't like Willow, or Willow's becoming a problem, or whatever the case may be. I have no faith that they're going to handle this correctly, but I'm glad they're doing something with Chris Statlander. She's just not standing there anymore. So hopefully this means something. We'll see. That small gremlin black dude. Look, it's been 3 or 4 years of this guy. I don't see the intrigue. I don't even know why he's there. Whatever, So whatever. Who gives a shit? I will say this because before I move on, I did like the drums for Mercedes entrance. The drummers, the showgirls. I don't know about them showgirls. They look kind of rough. They look pretty rough. I'm not saying it. I'm gonna let you guys say it. They look like trans people. Anyway, let's move on. The barbed wire steel cage match. Edge defeats Malachi Black. I like this match. They did a lot. The weapons were already in the cage, so they didn't have to leave the ring. It was just like chairs and ladders, and not ladders, but chairs and barbed wire and stuff all over the place. And there was a lot of blood, very bloody match, but it was sensible. There was a couple of spots that kind of went over the top, but it was a sensible match for the most part. They really got into the story really late into the match. The match went on for a while when Edge gets knocked outside the ring. Then the House of Black comes to the ringside, only for them to tease turning on Malachi Black, which actually got the people really into it. They were like, oh, that's great. And then they beat up Edge, and the three of them beat Edge up. Then Gangrel makes the save. And I was just like, okay. I'm not against this, but this of course requires you to have knowledge of Edge's career outside of AEW. And I know that, and that's when I really kind of hit me. Like, AEW is a place that, in terms of paying off their own stories and doing stuff like this, they're not very good. But if you want to utilize stuff from TNA, like Christian uses his TNA theme, you want to utilize stuff from WWE, you want to bring in some mid-carders from Ring of Honor back in 2006 or something like that, AEW is a perfect place for you. But you're talking about creating your own shit? Not really. And I knew they were going to do this, kind of like, because they did it with the bloodbath, so they kind of already set the table, the seeds were already planted. But it feels very unearned for you to bring out Gangrel or have the Brood in, the Tron or whatever. It's like, come on, he didn't do that shit in here. It's like, I don't know. It was weird for me. But if WWE is not going to utilize Gangrel, because a lot of people wanted them to do that when he was feuding with Judgment Day, they wanted Gangrel to show up, and WWE didn't spend the $10,000 to bring the fucking guy in the building. So AEW was actually able to do that. WWE basically gave them that moment by not doing it beforehand. But Edge wins by wrapping barbed wire around Malachi Black's head, and Malachi Black cannot respond to the referee once he was in the crossface, so the referee stopped the match. Edge and Gangrel celebrate. Edge snatches his ring from Malachi Black, and he's whole again. He's himself again. Look, I like both of these guys. I like this match. This was the match that I paid the most attention to. So I really enjoyed it. Highly enjoyable contest between these two guys. Match 6. Konosuke Takeshita beats the shit out of Jon Moxley, loses. Because, of course, I could have done without this. This match did not need to be on this show. And I will not elaborate. Match 5. Chris Jericho defeats Katsuyori Shibata and Hook in an FTW championship match. Didn't need this on this show either. Jericho was using dice as like thumbtacks. It's like Jericho he's an old man. Why is he now all of a sudden deciding he's going to do thumbtacks and dice and Legos and get put through tables and all this kind of stuff? It's like, Jericho, this is the point of your career where you're supposed to not take those bumps. You're coming across like Ric Flair. You know, like Ric Flair was old, washed up, broke, but it was that last point that led him to doing, ECW style bloodbaths in 2006 because he needed money. I'm pretty sure Jericho's not broke. Why is he doing this stuff? Like, what is he doing here? Why are you wasting your time wrestling Shibata? Why? I don't. You're going to try to make a star out of Shibata? Come on. That's a waste of time, man. Anyway. Brian Keith assaulted Shibata and Hook before he got taken out, but he's the one who led Chris Jericho to victory. Brian Keith, him joining Jericho is a shrug because there's not much to it. Like he's kind of a blank slate right now. So, I'll give it a couple of weeks to really let it sink in to see what he's going to do and how he's going to operate in this stable, or if he's going to even be in the stable at all. He might just be a hired gun, who got beat up by these two guys and taken out, and he decided he was going to retaliate. So it was an interesting turn at the very least. We'll see how it develops later. Jericho continues to be the FTW champion. Oh my God. This was rough, man. This is no good. Match 4, Orange Cassidy defeats Trent Beretta. Who gives a fuck? Really? Who cares about this match? Why is this match booked? After the match, Trent Beretta quits. Good. We're all better off not having Trent Beretta around. This guy's a washout from WWE Velocity in like 2007. I can't believe he's still around, for God's sake. What is up with that? He's making pay-per-view dollars. Is this in his contract or something like that? Why would you put that in Trent Beretta's contract? Oh my God. Tar and feather this asshole. What is up with this, people? Match 3. Serena Deeb does the JOB for Toni Storm. Even though she kicked the shit out of Toni Storm, nobody cared at all about Serena Deeb. Not nice for me to say that, but it's true. I got to be honest here. Toni Storm did a really good job. She sold very well. Serena Deeb did a good job as well. She's technical and she, could take her opponents apart, and she played that role very well here. Toni tried her best. The fans did not care about this match at all, seemingly, because they, I guess, hate Serena Deeb. I didn't know people actually hated Serena Deeb. I thought they were just kind of indifferent. And then I saw that a certain pimply-faced wrestling journalist has been sorting through her personal life to find out that she was married to Marty Scurll, who had sex with an underage girl in England, even though in England that is legal. I'm not saying this to excuse him. He definitely needs his ass beat, but I don't know how long ago that was, to be quite honest. So I don't know if he was 18 and she was 16, or he was 21 and she was 16. I don't know. But apparently this happened a while back. He got outed for it, which is why Marty Scurll is not in AEW now, despite the fact that he's friends with the Elite. And he married to Serena Deeb. And people have been going through her personal life. Like, her mortgage with the bank and everything is online. Like, these people are disgusting. This is what I mean by, like, the wrestling media is fucking awful. How is Serena Deeb and Marty Scurll being married, and how much money they got from the bank to buy a house? How is that anybody's fucking business? And why is that, an indication of her being a bad person? Because he did a stupid thing. And I don't even know how long ago this stupid thing was even done. So it seemed really unfair that she's being criticized, especially since I don't know the details of it. But I think part of the reason why people don't care, the people on the internet don't like Serena Deeb because of her marriage to Marty Scurll. But the people in the building who likely didn't know anything about that just thinks that she's boring because they haven't done anything to really establish her. She comes, she goes, she's not really a good promo, and the fans are not going to give her a chance to establish what she wants to do, especially when she's, up against Toni, who is out there rolling around in flowers and cutting really powerful, flowery promos. So she was completely blown out of the water. As much as I like Serena Deeb, this match should have been on Dynamite too. Giving her a pay-per-view paycheck seems to me like it's nepotism. She was not ready for prime time. She was not over enough to get on pay-per-view. And this match was not over enough to get on pay-per-view. This probably should have been on Collision or on Dynamite. It's just kind of how I feel. The second match on the show was the Trios Championship match, the Bang Bang Gang. Jay Whitehall and the Bullet Club and the Gun Boys defeated Death Triangle. Juice Robinson returned, much to my chagrin. Now we got to deal with this fucking guy again. So the Honeycomb mascot and showed back up. It was fun while it lasted, bros. I enjoyed my life Juice Robinson free for all these many months, and he came back miraculously. Is there any chance that there was a mistake and he's not really medically cleared, and instead his back is fractured in even more places? No? Well, here we go again with this. Very unfortunate. But Juice Robinson's back. Bang Bang Gang wins. I don't think anybody cared about this. It was just a quick-paced match that people really I kind of enjoyed it, but at the same time, these guys just wrestled on Collision, and I watched 40 minutes of Collision. I didn't watch all of it. I did watch the tag team match, though. So, that was that. MJF made his return after Roderick Strong lost his championship to Will Ospreay. So, we'll talk about that next. We'll talk about MJF's return now. Adam Cole came out because they wanted to close that loophole with the devil. Adam Cole is still hurt. Still not medically cleared, but he was walking without a cane. He talked about being the best in the world, but still being disrespected. And you got to give the devil the due. He's got the mask. The lights go out. The video plays. It's MJF's house, I think. There's, the suits with the Burberry scarf and everything, and then the music plays and MJF comes out and he's dressed like Triple H in 1999. He's wearing a denim vest that is over a black leather jacket. And he actually went to the gym, for God's sake. Somebody in AEW other than Billy Gunn knows what the gym looks like. The inside of one of these gyms. He also has hair plugs now. I'm very impressed by young Maxwell. He was tan. He looked like stained wood. But I was like, okay, so somebody who gives a damn all of a sudden, somebody who cares about their physique, somebody who cares about their appearance, somebody who actually took some time and reinvested into their character. He's coming out doing something slightly different with the look. So it's okay. So MJF confronts Adam Cole. They tease with Adam Cole yelling at him. Then they hug. Then he kicked Adam Cole in the balls and gave him a brain buster. That's the most he could do because Adam Cole is not medically cleared and he's still hurt. So, whatever. MJF then says he gave Adam Cole his trust. And that's something he'll never give anybody ever again. That Adam Cole woke him up and, reminded him who he really is. Then he says that he doesn't need a New Japan or a Vince McMahon to make him. MJF made MJF. He then says that there's not going to be any more relationships, no more friendships, no more fun and games, no more bullshit. He's going to be driven by the same thing he's always been driven by. He's been driven by hate. Then he picked up the mask, said that cowards wear masks. He hates that mask and everything that it symbolizes. So he can go to hell. Then he did the Ric Flair by snatching off his jacket and giving it an elbow and a knee and all that kind of stuff. So he's done with masks, done with being humble. And then he says on his contract that he rolled up his pants leg, and it was a tattoo on his back of his leg. It says that AEW, bet on yourself. Then he says that call him the wolf of wrestling because he ain't fucking leaving. So the bidding war of 2024, that didn't really work out very well, did it? I mean, he was injured the whole time and under contract the whole time. So what a storyline that they decided to shoot in the balls as a way of, but this is what the What Culture guys said. They needed to reaffirm that MJF wasn't going anywhere, because for a while MJF's gimmick was, I could leave any second. These other people, they really want me, and that really pissed off a lot of the audience. You could see it with, CM Punk kind of played into it when they were doing their thing a little bit. CM Punk played into it. But other people on the internet, they have that sinking feeling that if a guy is 1 foot out the door, you might as well just shove him out. Like Malachi Black and Danhausen took a picture with CM Punk, and they're like, get rid of him. They want to leave. Get him out of there. It's like, well, they can be friends with people who don't work there. Relax. So, in a sense of reassuring the audience that he's not leaving, they killed that storyline that they created, which is, how is Tony Khan going to be able to keep, MJF around? They just went ahead and axed it because their audience doesn't like that kind of story. Their audience doesn't like the idea that he might leave. And instead of playing on that, they decided, we're just going to give up on it and tell everybody that he's going to stay. And that way, they can just worry about investing in whatever he's going to do next, which is a gamble, because you spent 2 or 3 years on this story that you just decided to throw on a bonfire because your audience can't stand that somebody might entertain going somewhere else at any point in their lives. And it's a cult. And if you talk about leaving the cult, they're going to excommunicate you, So, but MJF being back is good for business. AEW really needed him to be back. They needed him and Adam Cole to come back quick, because guys like Trent Beretta being on TV, not good for the spirit, not good for the soul. All right. Will Ospreay defeats Roderick Strong. I actually enjoyed this match. Roderick Strong is so damn stiff. He beat the shit out of Will Ospreay, but there was no chance in hell of Will Ospreay losing. The only angle here was Roderick Strong was down for a little while. Don Callis told Will Ospreay to do the Tiger Driver to finish him. Ospreay considered doing it, but then he talked himself out of it. Ended up winning with a different move later on. So it didn't even cost him the match. Don Callis couldn't even cost him the match because Will Ospreay must win. So Ospreay won. It is what it is. So they announced on this show that the winners of the Owen Hart tournament will get championship matches at All In Wembley. I support this decision. If we're going to go through a tournament, you should get something at the end of it. This whole idea about them stealing the idea from King of the Ring, so what? Steal good ideas. If it's a good idea, take it. If it'll make your show more interesting, take it. So they took this thing. Hopefully they use it, because I know the last 2 Owen tournaments have not really led to much, especially when Ricky Starks won that Owen tournament. It didn't lead to anything for him, except for maybe being a tag team champion, which, whatever that'll get you with a quarter anywhere in Nebraska. And the only other thing worth talking about, Thunder Rosa, Deonna Purrazzo had a pretty decent match on the buy-in that Deonna Purrazzo won by cheating. So, if you think I was exaggerating about the MJF stuff and about the fans being a cult and everything, watch there was like a 30-second clip of Mercedes at the scrum. I watched it when I woke up because there was no way I would stand up till like 2 in the morning and see that, where she professes her love for AEW, drops the tagline, "This is where the best wrestle," because everybody's saying that now. I guess if everybody says it, it must be true. And anyway, she talks about Toni Khan saving her life and how, they have once again proved that WWE isn't the only place to wrestle and all this stuff. And she talked about how AEW is near and dear to her heart. She's been there 3 months. It's near and dear to my heart. What? In any event, AEW is doing, this show is a big old thumb in the middle as far as I'm concerned. I like the stuff that I liked. The show is entirely too long. It's bloated. Like every AEW show is absolutely bloated. Will Ospreay, I forgot to mention, Will Ospreay almost died from a botched doomsday device in his match, where Taven and Bennett comes through. Well, Taven, because he sucks, by the by, he did a clothesline, was supposed to be a clothesline. And Matt Taven's like a 20-year vet, by the way. And he barely cleared the ropes, and he barely touched Will Ospreay, who then did a full flip and landed on his head in the first match on the show. This guy is, he thankfully he was fine, of course. Those guys in New Japan, man, they love falling on their head and neck, and they walk away from it, so they turn out okay. But ultimately, that could have been disastrous. The Darby Allin thing, where he was dangling from the roof, that could have been disastrous. Do they not understand that human beings are not meant to be dangled from the ceiling upside down for several minutes at a time while bleeding? I think he was bleeding at the time. That was insane, completely unnecessary in terms of what was necessary for the match. I guess it was necessary to write him off so he can't be involved with the finish, but that was somewhat dangerous, especially for a guy who has had the injuries that he has had. But anyway, I'm going back into the show. I'm trying to wrap this thing up. The show was bloated. There's like 4 or 5 matches clearly that shouldn't even been on this show. So it's hard to say that it's a great show, because it's a chore to sit through. I mean, it's just so much generic wrestling, and it's going on for so long. But there were surprises. The MJF, even though MJF is not a huge surprise, it was something. Juice Robinson, even though I hate his guts, at least him returning was something. At least Chris Statlander turning heel, even though you could see that coming. At least it was something. Too often, this is the one positive that AEW has over WWE, is their desire to try to do things to make some surprises happen. Too often, Triple H's WWE is to just give you strictly the show, and then that's it. From beginning to end, the show has happened. That's what we promised you. There's not going to be any surprises, no returns, no nothing. Just, here's the show. And then you're like, okay, the show was the show. But at least AEW tried to provide something. I wish they would have cut so that, the show would have come across as being better, especially the Orange Cassidy stuff. If you're going to do like a long MJF segment, you didn't need the Orange Cassidy match. You could have just cut it, I know guys complain, like Takeshita complained that he had a match cut once while he was at the shoot waiting to go out, but his match with Jon Moxley was not needed. It just wasn't needed on this show. You could have just bumped it to Dynamite. There's ways of putting a show together to get in everything that you need while also providing some of the surprise elements and some of the fun stuff that you should be able to do on a wrestling show. And they can't do it on every show, but you could do it on your big shows. And this is one of their biggest shows. So, incredibly bloated show. Entirely too long. Too many matches I didn't care about. Thumb probably in the middle. But let me know what you guys think. Comment section below. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.